morning. How's everyone doing? Good. Getting ready to start the Atlanta Planning Advisory Board's December, the last meeting of the year, December 15th. We've got some really exciting things going on this morning because our December meeting is always dedicated to our Neighborhoods Matter and Partner Awards. So we want to thank our MPU chairs as well as the neighborhood associations for participating in that program. It's an opportunity where we definitely can make sure that our community champions are being recognized for the wonderful work that you all are doing in our community. So we want to thank those leaders. And then we also want to thank the honorees. Welcome. If this is your first time ever coming to an ACAP meeting, make sure it's not your last. We need all the help that we can get. So please, if you're not engaged in your MPUs, your neighborhood associations, or in APAP, feel free to join us, okay? We meet the third Saturday of every month from 10 until 12 in this committee room. Everyone should have an agenda. Our agenda is very, very abbreviated because we're focusing on our awards this morning. We will go ahead and do a roll call, even though we're not voting on any items other than the agenda, and we do not have last month's meetings, but I do have some highlights from what mainly happened last month, and also an announcement in our executive committee meeting that happened as well. So at this time, I'm going to call the roll. Delegates and alternates for MPU-A. Delegates for alternate MPU-B, Richard Rowell, John Muzzy, representatives or delegates and alternates from MPU-C. There's no delegate, but there's an alternate, and it's Zach Goldberg. Okay. MPU-D, Jim Martin.
Here.
Here's some more. MPU-E, James Snyder, Ryan Harris. MPU-F, Debbie Skopczynski.
Present.
No alternate. MPU-G, Ola Reynolds.
Here.
Sandra Hodges. NPU-H, Barbara Hubbard.
Here.
Charles Shelton. NPU-I, Jennifer Freeman, present. Eunice Glover. NPU-J, Ben Dickerson. Al Bartell. NPU-K, Chad Smith. Lydia Hardman. NPU-L, Bob Jones, Maurice White. NPU-M, Michelle Schreiner, Rashid Muhammad. NPU-N, Amy Stout, Kathy Whittling. NPU-O, Carl Holt, Marcus Owens. NPU-P, Rashid Hunter, Hope Hoffman. NPU-Q, David Gatichu Smith, Eric Toomer.
Present.
NPU-R, Alfred White and Sunita Robinson. NPU-S, Chris Brown, Nick Ness. NPU-T, Terry Ross,
Present.
Donovan Dodds. NPU-V, Columbus Ward, Stephanie Flowers. NPU-W, Jack Grungler, Steve Carr. NPU-X, Michael Hopkins, Ruben Burney. NPU-Y, Dana Scott, Gloria Hoffman-Wynn, and NPU-Z, Ann Phillips, Sharita Grant. Okay, so there is our roll call for today. Does everyone have an agenda? Okay, all right. We do not have a quorum. Okay. I have 8. Okay, a few announcements. If you look on your agenda, you will see board committee appointments. The Beltline TABAC, at the end of this month, Mr. James Martin's term will expire. We will have then approximately 4 open seats. If we have citizens, residents who are interested in serving on the Beltline Tax Allocation District Advisory Committee, you may send an email to apabatlanta@gmail.com. You can send in your letter of interest as well as your resume. If you want to know about that particular TAD, you are more than welcome to go to beltline.org. Also, in response to our executive committee meeting, I think we met like a week ago, I believe, a week or 2 ago. There was an action item regarding the ad hoc committee that was formed in reference to the conflict resolution recommendations, and I want to publicly recognize Mr. Martin again for his work on that ad hoc committee and any members who attended. He did an outstanding job with bringing that to fruition, and we do have some recommendations. However, in the executive committee meeting, we voted, and I totally agree, that when the new leadership comes in, the new office 2019 comes in, they will decide on moving forward, bringing that to the body for a vote. At this time, do we have any public comments or any announcements? If so, please come up to the mic, or if you're an officer, you can go ahead, Mr. Martin.
Sir, briefly, I don't know if anybody has been following the Gulch litigation. There's been some stuff in the paper about it. But you may recall we unanimously passed a resolution back in April calling on City Council not to extend the life of any of the tax allocation districts. And it had not occurred to us in drafting this resolution, but in fact at that time, City Council and Fulton County had already extended the life of the West Side TAD, but APS had not. And that is part of one of the key points that is currently being litigated with regard to the Gulch litigation. And I realize we don't have a quorum here today, but I would say that it is a very reasonable interpretation of that resolution that we are also calling on APS not to extend the life of any TADs. And so I would just put to the body, does anyone have any objections to my putting forward that assertion in public? Okay, thank you.
Mr. Toomer?
Hi. My name is Eric Toomer. I represent NPUQ, and I am also the first vice president, current and elect. I'd like to take this time to thank all of the outgoing officers and welcome in the officers that are coming in for 2019. But one thing I'd like to do is I'd like to take the time to specifically thank Jennifer Freeman for her steadfast devotion, her level-headedness while serving the years as a member of APAB and continuing to serve in the 2019, but she is outgoing as the chairperson or president. I'd also like to recognize the fact that this is not a personal attack on anyone, but it really has to be said. It almost seemed like there were, as in Greek mythology, if you recall the story of Prometheus, who basically the crows would eat his liver and it would keep rejuvenating. I kind of felt that that was the battle that Jennifer was fighting. She had crows from the body that were eating her liver, but she stayed high and kept rejuvenating. And I appreciate that. Again, this is not a personal attack on anyone, but it's just an observation from my perspective. I also would like to take this time to pledge my support, as I supported Jennifer, for Debbie Skopczynski, who is the new president coming in. And with that, I digress. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. You actually beat me to the punch on recognizing the new officers. At this time, though, before we go into the awards, what I'd like to do is to, first of all, call the new officers their names. They also printed in our program, and I'd like for you to stand if you were here. The new officers for 2019 are Debbie Skopczynski, President; Eric Toomer, First Vice President; Eunice Glover, Second Vice President; Ann Phillips, Financial Secretary; Melissa Moore, Recording Secretary; Richard Rao, Corresponding Secretary; and Jim Martin, Parliamentarian. Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you so much for continuing to serve. Also, I'd like to say, as it relates to my service to APAB, I will continue to be a delegate and will continue to serve the executive officers in all capacities that I probably have been serving in as it relates to communications. My passion right now is to help with the outreach as it relates to new residents and also millennials. We are really trying to make sure that new residents know about the MPUs as well as APAB. And so that will be an area that I'll be focusing on. And Ms. Skopczynski has agreed that she'd like for me to stay on doing some of the things that I've already been doing with APAB on the communications marketing side. And I look forward to serving with all the new officers. Also at this time, I'd like to recognize the APAB delegates and alternates for 2018. Would you please stand? You know who you are, so just stand up and be recognized by visitors. And thank you so much for your work. I'm doing this now because at the reception afterwards, we will not be having a program. We will just be fellowshipping and have some really good food. Okay? So thank you. Mr. Ross?
Yes. I just wanted to piggyback on Eric's comments, and I'd really like to tell you thank you, Jennifer, for your years of service, when you stood in the gap when Kathy unexpectedly passed away and just kept the entire APAB body fluid. And I'd like to thank you publicly and ask everybody to just show their appreciation.
That I always done. Mr. Carr.
Thank you. Jim Martin, if you would add one item to the Westside CAD material that you just talked of, and it's my understanding is that this city is limited by law to 10% of its tax base to a tax allocation district system. It's my understanding is that we're to 16%. I'd like to see some kind of justification on that, as well as any kind of analysis. Obviously, the school board is pushing back on that in the latest.
Okay, so the 10% limit applies if you are creating a new TAD. So the city, and it's more than 16% now, so the city is not able to create a new TAD. The extension of the life of the TAD, which is what our resolution is about, the city considers to be a fundamentally different act, which is why they think they get away with it. The objection of the school board in the current litigation is that in order to extend the life of a TAD, the three participating bodies all need to agree. And the school board never agreed to the 2008 extension of the life of the West Side TAD to the year 2038. So the school board's participation in the West Side TAD should end at the end of 2023, 5 years from now. And what the city was attempting to do was to issue bonds secured by school taxes from 2023 on out to 2038, which was essentially stealing money from the school system in order to hand it over to development. And so a group of us citizens objected to that, and I believe that's also the foundation of the school board's objection, but I haven't seen the school board materials. Does that answer your question?
That helps out a lot. Also, is it possible to part it out? For instance, Fulton County, which is part of the three entities, the city of Atlanta, go in one direction, and the school board not participate in the other. So can there be a partial program?
There are TADs in which the school board does not participate. The school system is not participating in any of the commercial corridor TADs. And I'm pretty sure if you check the numbers, the commercial corridor TADs were all created after we were up at 10%, so I'm not really sure how they got away with that one, but that's neither here nor there.
That is also helpful, thank you.
At this time, I'm going to go into detail about some logistics before we get started with our awards. At around 11 o'clock, I will leave and go over to the Committee on Council, the Old Council Chambers. That's where we will have a reception, so I want to make sure I check on the caterers to make sure everything is set up. And then you will not see me anymore because I have to take my mother to the airport. But Mr. Toomer is going to preside over the meeting once I leave. At this time, we will proceed with the printing program. Ms. Phillips, she will talk to us about the purpose of the awards and also about APAP, an overview.
Good morning. Good morning. I am Ann Phillips, chairperson of NPUC, and I'm sorry to have my back turned to you, but we have to come directly here in order to be on the camera, so please forgive my back. For those of you who are unfamiliar with the Atlanta Planning Advisory Board, it is an appointed board by members of your NPU. There are 25 NPUs in the city of Atlanta, and each NPU appoints a delegate and an alternate to the Atlanta Planning Advisory Board. These delegates and alternates are sworn in by the municipal clerk of the city of Atlanta. If you look in your book this morning, sections, you have just about all the information that you could get on the Atlanta Planning Advisory Board, so I won't go over all of that. But I would like to say that we thank each of you for participating in your NPUs, nominating and appointing alternates and delegates to the Atlanta Planning Advisory Board. It is strictly volunteer, takes up a lot of our time, but we love it. Our purpose is to be your link to the City Council and to the Department of Planning and the Planning Commission. If you remember, in your NPUs, you're constantly voting on ordinances, applications from the LRB, the BZA, the CRB. Those applications that you vote on come to us also. We learn about them, get the information back to your NPU chairs, and you'll find that you learn an astronomical amount of information, and there's a lot that you will do for your NPU. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank each of you for coming this morning, and I look forward to seeing more of you in these chairs on the third Saturday of every month. Our meetings are open to the public, so please plan on coming. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Phillips. I'm just checking off the honorees that I see. I believe I'm recognizing their faces based on their pictures, but I want to make sure that it looks like the majority of the nominees are not here. But if I, when I recite your name, would you just say that you're present? Ms. Joanne Scott. Mr. Mark Clement. Anyone from the Hillside of Atlanta present? Okay. Judge Pinky Tuma. Maddie Sanders. Sita Sid Kabe. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Probably not. Kimberly Scott.
Expect it in about 5 to 10 minutes.
Bishop Greg Fan. Ann Phillips. Reginald Russian, I don't see him. Any representatives from the Georgia Coalition for People's Agenda or the National Council of Newer Women Incorporated? Give us a minute, we're organizing the awards and then we'll get started. If anyone sees any of those honorees come in, please let someone know, myself or Mr. Tuma or Mr. Ross. Okay, I see that Mr. Reginald Russian has joined us. Good morning, Mr. Russian. Anyone from Hillside of Atlanta here? Mr. Mark Clement is on his way. Okay. Cedar Sid, please help me, Mr. Is it Kabe? Okay, thank you. I saw you come in. Make sure I had your name correct. Kimberly Scott. Oh, hey, Kimberly. All right. All right. There's a name on the list. That's Renette Scott. She will not be able to join us. She has illness in the family. However, we're going to give her her award at the January 19th meeting. So please make a note of that. She represents NPUR. At this time, part of the program that says we salute volunteers. If you look in your program, right after the actual awards program, you will see a Thanksgiving salute for citizen engagement. This is actually a salute that we do every year, just to kind of appreciate volunteers and to recommit ourselves to citizen engagement. It's also an opportunity to what Ms. Phillips said about, it's a recruiting tool every time. You know, it's, we know that when you're volunteers, no matter where you are, that you are serving as it being a labor of love. And so we want to, once again, if you feel free to just know that these are public meetings and that you can serve in any capacity you like. If you are not a delegate and an alternate, you cannot be, of course, an officer, or you cannot be a committee chair, but you can be a co-chair and you can be a volunteer. And we have tons of opportunities throughout the year to serve. At this time, I'm going to ask everyone to stand as we recite a Thanksgiving salute for citizen engagement. I will read. We are truly blessed and enriched by the many people of this city who volunteer their time and their talent in small and large ways for the benefit of the many communities and for the advancement of equity and justice. There is no insignificant work that is done among us. All efforts, from maintaining our property to cleaning the city to leadership to advising our elected officials, all are important efforts by which we are mutually blessed and by which our city prospers. It is therefore appropriate on this day that we should recognize the work that is done by so many faithful and dedicated people and citizens of Atlanta, giving thanks to one another for making community service manifest among us in such a variety of ways. May we all stand to our feet as we share in the salute to volunteers on page 5, which is not, the pages are not numbered, of your program. You will read the part in bold print with P standing for the word people. We are called into service as a resident of Atlanta. Our lives are enriched through the citizen engagement work we perform. We are strengthened and inspired to live lives of mutual love and service in this place called the city of Atlanta, Georgia. For all the work of the people, for the people and by the people, we give our heartfelt thanks and praise. We give thanks for those who lead and for those who follow, for officers and councils and committees and boards. We give thanks for those who give and those who work, for those who plan and for those who guide, for those with wisdom and those with inspiration. We give thanks for our past and for our future, for the many ways that we have served in our neighborhoods, for a purpose, for being the community. We give thanks. Keep us ever committed to service, that we might find strength to endure to the end. We dedicate our lives to service. May we acknowledge with gratefulness the importance of our citizen volunteers and all our gifts for the mission that we are given. We dedicate our lives to service. May our work inspire others to become more engaged in good citizenship. It is in our hands. We thank all of the people in the great city of Atlanta for the volunteer work that they perform. Volunteers lend their hands and their minds and their words that might bring about a better place to live, work, and play in Atlanta. Volunteer work can prosper the lives of residents in our neighborhoods. It is in our hands. You may be seated. Thank you. This time, Ms. Phillips will be presenting the 2018 awards. I will call them as she presents. Ms. Joanne Scott, representing MPUJ. Is Mr. Dickerson here, the NPU chair? Okay, so when you're presented with the award, you were more than welcome to say something, and then you're gonna turn over and look at that handsome man right over there and smile, so we can take your picture. Ms. Scott?
Just like to say thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome. You all can refer to her bio in the program. I do want to say just a little bit, just to read like the first sentence or so, where they're taking your picture. NPUJ is pleased to recognize Ms. Joanne Scott, NPUJ's nominee for APAP's 2018 Neighborhood Matters and Partners Awards. Ms. Scott has served her Dixie Hills NPUJ community for nearly 40 years. A graduate of Douglas High School and Atlanta Technical College. She has served as president for Dixie Hill Community and president of Anderson Park Elementary PTA and Turner Middle School PTA, as well as secretary of Community Civic Club in Dixie Hills. And she presently serves as NPUJ's secretary. Let's give Ms. Scott a hand. Mr. Mark Clement. Come on down. How are you?
Doing well yourself?
Great, thank you. Thank you so much for persevering to get here. Yes, you're representing MPUN. Mr. Clement, Atlanta attracts families from all around the world. Our neighbors, our weather, invite people to settle here. But every now and then, you run into someone who can say they were born and raised in Atlanta. Our Cameron Park neighborhood, Mark Clement, can say that. But his community roots go even deeper. He was born in the home on Benning Place, where he lives today with his family. His neighborhood resume is long, but there are a few notable contributions that set into motion the current Candler Park Neighborhood Association. Over the years, Mark Clement has held board positions. He was an original organizer of the Candler Park's Fall Fest, our annual fundraising event that marks donations to our community possible. Thank you so much for your service, sir. Also, I'd like to say that this year, for the first time, we opened up the awards to the neighborhood associations. And with that said, you are, like, I would say, the official first recipient of that award, in that we opened it up to the neighborhood associations and not just the MPUs. So again, Mr. Clement, thank you so much for your good work. Mr. Reginald Russian, Chair of NPUP. NPUP proudly recognizes Reginald's 15 years of NPU service, which has improved the environment and elevated the image of our Southwest community. As a true Grady baby Atlantan, he returned to his roots to raise a family after his life's journey took him overseas and elsewhere. He is very familiar with the city and his NPUP community, and has has a distinct memory of the streets and neighborhoods of our city. Reginald started off on the Land Use and Zoning Committee under the esteemed former NPUP chairman, Mr. Charles Bryant, in 2013. From there, he was tapped as vice president in 2006. And in 2012, he assumed the mantle of NPU chair. He had big shoes to fill, and the community believes he has the right character and abilities to succeed. Reginald has faithfully and effectively served our community ever since. Congratulations, Mr. Russian. I really need to get my reading glasses, but I'm gonna see if I can struggle through it.
Oh, yeah, thank you, Jim. I wish it was the power.
Thank you again, Mr. Russian, for your service. At this time, we're going to call Judge Pinky Toomer of NPUQ. And Mr. David Gettichow Smith. He is the chair of NPUQ. NPUQ is proud to nominate Pinky T. Toomer as the co-recipient of the 2018 Neighborhood Matters and Partner Award. Since the West Cascade area was incorporated as part of the city of Atlanta, Judge Toomer has been involved behind the scenes and in almost all of the NPUQ activity, including the Operations Committee of the Cascade 5K, the NPUQ Nominating Committee, and the NPUQ Bylaws Review Committee. Most recently, she was appointed as parliamentarian. In addition to those activities, she has participated in numerous capacities with bar and bench-related organizations, including the Emory University Law School Council, the Gate City Bar Association, and the Georgia Association of Black Women Attorneys. Congratulations and thank you for your service, Judge. Mr. Matty Sanders, NPUQ. NPUQ is proud to nominate Matty G. Sanders as the co-recipient of the 2018 Neighborhood Matters and Partner Awards. Ms. Sanders is relatively new to NPU activity, but once involved, she has distinguished herself as a valuable asset. For the last 2 terms, she has served in the capacity of secretary with responsibilities for preparing minutes for each meeting and coordinating on behalf of the NPUQ with the City of Atlanta Planning Department. In addition, she has served as a community ambassador and facilities manager for the Cascade 5K. Mrs. Sanders has been elected to serve as vice president for 2019. Congratulations for your service and your continued service in the 2019.
Thank you.
You're welcome. David, you're busy. You might as well just stay on up there, right? Mr. Quebec.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Let's remind all awardees that if you'd like to say something, you can.
Oh, yes. This is a shy bunch, I believe, last year. It was pretty long-winded. I think we had one preacher, didn't we? Oh, that's right. I forgot Mr. Van is in the house. Mr. Quebec. Mr. Quebec is proud, NPUQ is proud to nominate Mr. Sete Sid Quebec to receive a APAP Partners Award for 2018. He's a native of Sierra Leone. At the age of 5, Quebec and his family came to the United States moving around the Northeast. He eventually came south for college and at the University of Georgia, and now makes Atlanta his home. For several years, Mr. Cabay has been employed as general manager for the Cascade Walmart Center. In this capacity, he has served as an ambassador to the West Cascade community. Initially, the community was apprehensive about the presence of such new, large commercial neighbor. To his credit, he has changed the negative perception by partnering with the West Cascade community. In his regular duties, he has been responsible to individual concerns, coordinated with efforts to promote safety and cleanliness, and provide numerous employment opportunities for community residents. Congratulations, Mr. Cadet. Thank you so much for your service. And being a community partner in the West Cascade neighborhood. Like I mentioned before, Ms. Renette Scott, her award will be presented at the January 19th meeting. She had death in the family. She will be representing NPR. Kimberly Scott, would you come forward, NPUT. Mr. Ross will be presenting her along with Mr. Phillips, or Ms. Phillips, her award. Kimberly Scott is the Vice Chair of NPUT and CEO of In-Town Realty Development. She also sits on the Atlanta Commercial Board of Realtors. Kim is a role model for Introduce a Girl to Engineering Incorporated, past president of West End Neighborhood, chair of the NPUT Zoning Committee. Kim is a grad of Douglas High School, Vanderbilt, and has a chemical engineering degree. Thank you so much for all your hard work and your service and giving back to the community.
And I would just like to say thank you to you, Jennifer, and the 2018 APAT board, Mayor Bottoms, and the incoming 2019 board. It's a pleasure to be able to serve and continue the legacy of the late Mayor Jackson for the MPU system to educate and inform our residents so that you guys can make informed decisions about the benefits of your community. So thank you so much for the opportunity to serve. And to my chair, Terry Ross, thank you so much for the appointment. And I love working with you guys and working for MPUT. Thank you.
Thank you. Bishop Greg Fan. Nominated by MPUX. Mr. Hopkins, I believe is here. Growing up in Atlanta as a member of the West Hunter Street Baptist Church and having been led by civil rights icon Ralph Abernathy Sr., Greg Fan gained a bird's eye view of the civil rights movement and its connection to the struggles of organized labor. Greg learned firsthand after fighting for justice and equality. Following in the footsteps of his ministerial mentor, he became a preacher at the age of 21 and was formally ordained in 1978. His accession to the pulpit and his apprenticeship under Abernathy was a national progression into organized labor. He currently is the pastor of Liberty National Door of Hope Ministries, located at 1362 Metropolitan Parkway, Atlanta, Georgia 30312, where he has been there for 38 years. Congratulations for the service and for you giving back to the community in NPUX.
Thank you, Jennifer.
You're welcome,
Thank
sir.
all of y'all. God bless you, God bless your family, God bless America.
Wow, that was short. Thank you. Miss Ann Phillips. Did I skip someone?
No.
Oh, she's
This
good.
is Miss Shirley Nichols, my vice chair.
Oh, hi. I was like, did we miss someone? And then I was like, oh, that's wonderful. You have someone standing up there with you. Because I didn't want you to be alone giving yourself an award when you the honoree. So, okay. Well, let me just take an executive privilege with Ann Phillips. read a little bit about bio. Even when I became the president of APAT and served in several different roles on the executive committee, and even in my MPI, I knew Ann Phillips. And Ann has always been, first of all, she is good with numbers. You all know that. That's why she's finance secretary. She's really good with numbers. And she is a straight shooter. And we may not always get along, agree, I should say. We don't always agree. But what I do like about her is that she has a heart of gold. She's going to tell you the truth. She's going to say it in love. And she's always been there to support me and to just to be very supportive. And I appreciate that, Ms. Phillips, more than you'll ever know. Okay, so I want to publicly say that. All right? NPU Planning Unit Z is proud to commend and honor Ann E. Phillips for her community service, the knowledge and experience she brings to the city of Atlanta, and her willingness to use her gifts and talents to help others achieve their goals in life. Ann Phillips is Atlanta native, another Atlanta native, right? Graduate of Price High School, holds a Bachelor of Arts degree in Business Administration and Management, with additional graduate courses from Clark Atlanta University. She's a military veteran, having served in the Georgia Military National Guard for 6 years. She presently serves as president of the Stonewall Heritage Community Association, chairperson of NPU-Z for the past 7 years, and since 2018 has been a member of the Atlanta Planning Advisory Board, where she serves as finance secretary. Congratulations and thank you for your service, Ms. Phillips.
Thank you so very much, Madam President. And I'd like to take this opportunity to say thank you to everybody in NPU-Z. We had some successes, we've had some failures, but throughout it all, we have had a wonderful time learning together, working together, and seeing just what we could do to make our NPU much better. And I say this all the time, in any organization, a leader is only as effective as the people that work with it. And God gave me some of the best. Number one, Miss Shirley Nichols, who is our vice chair and our zoning chair. She's been with me on this ride for the past 7 years, and we both just got reelected. I'm going to ask my other members if they would stand. These are the people that have made me what I am today as it relates to NPU-Z. No matter when you call them, what I ask them for, they're there to do it. You all know Sharita Grant, she's our APAT alternate. Mr. Jerry Hicks, he is on our safety committee, and whenever I call Jerry, he's there. He's also our assistant secretary. Miss Joanne Evans Taylor, who is our treasurer. She's been treasurer on in fact, all of them have been on this ride with me for the past 7 years. And she didn't stand for some reason or another, but Miss Jacqueline McGrady, she is one of my community residents, and she has been my right hand for my community association for the past 10 or 12 years. And I'd like to thank all of them because I couldn't. Oh, and I'm sorry. I missed Mr. Fears, Michael Fears, because he was inducted to be the photographer when he got here.
Yes, he was. I put him to work.
But Mr. Fears had been with me. I look like he and I have been together forever, even though before I was chairperson. I'd like to say thank you to all of them and everybody in NPU-Z. It has been a wonderful ride, and we got another turn coming up for next year. And thank you to APAT.
Thank you. Thank you for your service and congratulations on being reelected. And Ms. Nichols, thank you for your service as well. Okay, so do we have any representatives from the Hillside of Atlanta? Okay, I'm going to ask Debbie Skopczynski to come up and to accept their award on their behalf. NPUF is pleased to recognize the contributions of Hillside of Atlanta one of Atlanta's oldest nonprofit organizations offering a continuum of services for children and adolescents struggling with emotional and behavioral issues. Founded in January of 1888, Hillside's mission has been to help children and families thrive by providing outstanding residential and community mental health services. Founded in January of 1888, Hillside began as a shelter for homeless women and needy children. The home, which has become Hillside, was initially named Home of the Friendless and operated from a 10-room house in downtown Atlanta. The home cared for women, children, and newborn babies. Foster care placements and adoptions were also arranged as needed. Space became inadequate and the home moved in 1889 to a house at Peters and Fair Streets, and then began in 1892 to a site at Highland Avenue and Randolph Streets. Congratulations to the Hillside of Atlanta for their award and for their continued service in the community.
Thank you, Jennifer. Most people have never heard of Hillside of Atlanta, and that includes the residents of NPUF. They are located down in a ravine past a Georgia Power substation, and so most folks don't even know that it's there, but they've been a part of our community for now 130 years. Best known for the goats that clean out the kudzu every quarter, and also for hosting NPUF. They open their doors, even though it is a residential facility. They open their gates, they open their doors, they open up their training room for us, and provide a meeting space for NPUF. The thing that I appreciate most is the kind of training that they do is for their staff on conflict resolution, on anger management, and how to deal with a rowdy group, and they leave their posters up around the walls for us, which I think help us conduct some pretty good meetings. So we're going to honor them at our January meeting where the NPU can express their appreciation to Hillside. So thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Ms. Helen Butler. Did I see Ms. Butler?
I am here.
Hey, good to see you. Yes. So Helen Butler, she's Executive Director for the Georgia Coalition for the People's Agenda. She's accepting an award, a partner award from the Atlanta Planning Advisory Board. Whenever I've called Helen to partner with us on events or trainings that we've had in the past, she's always been there. If she cannot physically be there, she will definitely send her staff. They participated in the voter education day that we had back in October. The Georgia Coalition for the People's Agenda is an advocacy organization that is made up of three components: the people, the agenda, the coalition. Their mission is to improve quality of governance in Georgia, to help create a more informed and active electorate, and to have responsive and accountable elected officials. Congratulations for your service and being a partner of APAP, and we do know that you will continue to be a partner in the future. Would you like to say something?
Yes, good morning to everyone, and thank you so much, Ms. Freeman and the entire Planning Advisory Board. I accept this on behalf of the citizens who actually participate. All of you participate in making our government better, and that's what it should all be about. Democracy is of the people. And so we thank you for this honor, and on behalf of our founder and convener, Dr. Joseph Lowery, we really thank you so much.
Thank you for your service. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to, yes, ma'am. They're not here. Okay. So the last partner, which is the National Council for Negro Women Incorporated, what we'll do is Ms. Larche did inform me that she was not going to be able to make it, so we will make sure that they get their award, okay? I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Toomer. He will basically adjourn the meeting, or if If you all want to have an opportunity to take group pictures, you can do that. But I want to leave, I want to make sure that everything is going to be in order for the reception. We are an hour early before the reception starts. So I need to get over there to see if they have set up early. So I'll come back to let you guys know, okay? Thank you so much, and you all have a great holiday season and Happy New Year.
At this time, I'd like to do a roll call to see if we do have a quorum. Yes.
NPU-A, no representative. NPU-B, Richard Rao.
Here.
NPU-C, no representative, alternate Zach Goldberg. NPU-D, Jim Martin.
Here.
NPU-E, James Snyder. Delegate Brian Harris, alternate. NPU-F, Debbie Skowzinski.
Here.
NPU-G, Ola Reynolds. NPU-H, Barbara Hubbard, here. NPU-I, Jennifer Freeman.
Present.
NPU-J, Benjamin Dickerson. NPU-K, Chad Smith. NPU-L, Bob Jones. NPU-M, Michelle Schreiner. NPU-N, Amy Stout. NPU-O, Carl Holt. NPU-P, Rasheen Hunter. NPU-Q, David Gadichu Smith. NPU-R, Alfred White. NPU-S, Chris Brown. NPU-T, Terry Ross. NPU-V, Columbus Ward. NPU-W, Jack Brunner. NPU-X, Michael Hopkins.
Here, present.
NPU-Y, Dana Scott.
Here.
NPU-Z, Ann Phillips.
Here.
Okay.
W is here.
Sorry, okay. NPU-W, Steve Carr, alternate. Okay.
So now I'm like, Steve, are you really here? Okay, we still do not have a quorum. At this point, what I'd like to do is to officially adjourn the meeting, which was never really called into session because we never had a quorum. And so at that point, what I'd like to do is to ask all of the awardees to take their plaques and come to the semicircle, and the photographer take a picture of them. Following, I'd like the presenters plus the awardees to come forward, and the presenters stand by their awardees, and then we would do pictures from there.
And while everybody is coming up, I'd like for you to take a look at the agenda page that you received this morning. Down at the bottom, on the left-hand corner, you'll see that our Facebook information. All of our sessions are videotaped by the city and also by our independent video company. And you can go on our Facebook page next week probably and see the video of yourself. Thank you.
Get everybody?
Okay, so the awardees come forward to the semicircle. Or the recipients, I should say, I guess. Just come right into the...
Inside?
You want them inside or just right here?
Right there's fine, right there's fine. At this point, I'll turn it over to the photographer. Photographer, please.
All right, everybody smile.